Alright, hello again and welcome to part 2 of day 1 of my horror movie marathon weekend. Hello again everybody in the After Movie Diner and Dr. Action the Kick-Ass Kid Facebook group. I hope your Saturday was one of a goodness and I hope that your Sunday will be awesome too. This video, episode, whatever you want to call it, is brought to you by Jagoff Massacre, and you can get this t-shirt. This is a movie, by the way, by Out of Print Dan and Tim Gross from Gross Movie Reviews and the Blood Baths and Boomsticks podcast. I don't know if they have copies available, but hit them up, Tim Gross or Daniel Boyd, to try and get a copy of Jagoff Massacre, because it's awesome. Pittsburgh's premium independent horror movie since Romero slung his hook and went to Canada. So you can pick up this t-shirt as well, the Jagoff Massacre t-shirt, from none other than fastcustomshirts.com. The wonderful t-shirt Joe Garcia will fit you out with a horror movie tee or an artist tee or a movie tee of your choice. So go check out fastcustomshirts.com. So I have 3 more movies to talk about today, and they are in the following order. 1990, A Bronx Warrior. This was released recently by Blue Underground, along with its sequel, which I'm also going to talk about today, which is Escape from the Bronx, as well as the third movie, which is also by Enzo Castellari, but really isn't connected to these two, and that is The New Barbarians, and all of those are available from Blue Underground on sweet Blu-ray. Sweet Blu-ray. Fantastic HD images and all the good shit that goes with Blu-ray, audio, blah blah blah, subtitles, commentaries, all the good stuff. These are ones to own, I tell you that right now. And lastly, I sat down to watch a movie I hadn't seen in years, but I dearly love, and that is Rupert Everett Cemetery Man, made by Michael Soavi, who also did Stage Fright, the original Stage Fright, the one with the big killer bird, and was a protege of Argento, as everyone in Italian horror was, either that or Bava, of course. So they're the 3 movies I watched. They're all 3 of them Italian movies. So this is like the Italian exploitation, or Italsploitation, or Europe-exploitation, or something episode of the After Movie Diner on video thing, whatever this is. But first up is 1990 Bronx Warrior. In fact, I'm going to kind of do both of these together because they're kind of similar. The only difference is 1990 The Bronx Warrior has none other than Fred the Hammer Williamson in it. But just to confuse the issue, Fred the Hammer Williamson plays someone called Ogre, and someone else in the movie plays a character called the Hammer, which just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense when you see Fred Williamson say, we can't, let the Hammer get us. And it's like, but you're the Hammer, Fred. And he really is the Hammer. He kicks ass in this movie, and I would suggest, I would suggest, actually, really, one of the only reasons to watch this movie, that, and the fact that it is filmed predominantly, or certainly the actual New York shots are shot in New York. Although, weirdly enough, when they film what's meant to be the Bronx, it's actually Brooklyn, because it's overlooking the East River. I don't really understand that at all. Probably because if they filmed it in the Bronx and filmed the Harlem River, you really can't see any New York landmarks in particular. There wouldn't be, like, you couldn't go, oh yeah, that's definitely New York. And then the rest of it is filmed, I presume, in Italy. I don't know. But the rest of it is filmed in, like, what's meant to be the underground of the Bronx, or like the sewers and subways and things of the Bronx, but really is just some old abandoned brick archways and things. It's kind of humorously low budget once they get into the whole we have to cross the Bronx to get to Ogre thing. But basically there are multiple gangs running the Bronx at the moment. It's sort of a no man's land. No one else goes up there. The government have kind of disowned it, and it's run by this bunch of gangs. All the gangs are absolutely mental. So you have the biker gang, who all look like, well, the leader of the biker gang doesn't look anything like this, but the leader, he looks more like this guy. This is more of an accurate portrayal of what he looks like. But you've got to imagine a young Steve Tyler if he was a drag queen. That's kind of what you're looking at here with this leader of the bike gang. And then you've got like Ogre claims to be like King of the Bronx. That's Fred Williamson. He has all like the he's basically the 70s silk and satin gang. They kind of hang out in a boudoir with a throne, eating hors d'oeuvres and listening to like kind of slightly funky but not really music. And then there are the roller skating, hockey stick, bedpan for helmet crew, which are really kind of hilarious. They're kind of look like extras from Xanadu. There's that gang. There's the student production of a gay Clockwork Orange gang, which is basically a bunch of tap dancing guys who have sparkly sort of bowler-like hats. Yeah, it's all kind of a bit bizarre. All the costumes in these movies look like they've raided the local Amdram or summer stock theatre wardrobe and just put on whatever they could find there. Oh, there's also a gang that appears to be sort of just constantly training. They look like they're part kind of red ninjas and part kind of just people in 70s workout clothing, pop socks and leotards and things, and they just kind of run around a very small room doing kind of flips onto trampolines and things like that. So there's all these gangs. They've taken over the Bronx, but lo and behold, the heiress to the wealthiest fortune of the Manhattan Corporation has wandered into the Bronx because she wants no more to do with the man. Yeah, down with the man, down with corporations trying to take over our land, and up with hairy guys on bikes with a lot of leather. Oh, I forgot to mention, of course, the rest of the biker gang looked like either out-of-work bricklayers or accountants, or just none of them look threatening, and none of them do anything very threatening in this movie. Like there's nothing that gets these gangs their reputation at all, apart from, like I said, Fred, who when he is confronted with a bunch of fighting, brings it. He brings it because he has got the karate moves and he does the weaponry and blah, 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 blah. And all of Fred's fights in this kick ass. I'm not just saying that because he's Fred the Hammer Williamson. I'm saying it because I sat through the whole 90 minutes of it, and really that is the case. Pacing is not Castellari's strong point, neither is plotting, neither is acting or any of that stuff that's in the movie. It is purely fun, though. I would never completely dismiss these movies. They are purely fun because of they come from like a time that doesn't really exist anymore. They come from that period of Italsploitation where they're riffing on the Warriors, they're riffing on Mad Max, they're riffing on Escape from New York, they're riffing on various American movies that had made their way over to Europe, and they were like, well, we're going to show up in New York and we're going to kind of do our own version of it, but it's going to be sort of camp and a little weird, and it's not really going to go anywhere, and there's sort of a grain of an idea, and we'll just kind of play that out. But ultimately it'll be a chance to do kind of lots of fairly underwhelming stunts in a sort of fairly groovy kind of run-down Bronx looking kind of backdrop. And that's kind of what they do. It's sort of like Death Wish 3, but without Charles Bronson wandering around. But it's that kind of thing. It's like roving gangs of crazily dressed people not really doing anything. And it's sort of also odd, and this goes for both movies, because in the second movie, Escape from the Bronx, the one without Fred Williamson, and the one which is really just a prolonged fight sequence, really. I mean, that's all it is, just prolonged stunts. There's really, I mean, there's literally no plot to this other than, again, a big corporation is trying to level the Bronx and take it over to build the city of the future. Kind of like a Donald Trump-esque or a Brookfield-esque kind of guy is going to come in, level the place, and build like a nice new shiny city. And the Bronx Warriors decide to go and kidnap the CEO on the hope that it causes the corporation to back off or at least deal with them and stuff. But it doesn't really do that, and it doesn't really matter, and everyone dies, and it's Henry Silver goes around as a mad kind of judge and jury and executioner kind of guy, and there's even more flamboyant gangs and even more crazy. There's one guy who runs around looking like a crazy leather pirate, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. Really, the reason to embrace these movies is just because they're fun. They're just fun, campy, ridiculous. They're also of a time that kind of will never exist again. They just don't. There would be no way for a low budget Italian film crew to rock up into a shitty part of New York, using the New York skyline as a bit of production value, and make something this ludicrous with this cast, with all these cars and bikes and costumes and things. They're just you wouldn't be able to do it these days, and that's maybe for the best, considering. But I do like these, although they're not ones I'm going to put in again a lot or frequently. They are fun. They do come from a certain place, and they are important that they exist. And there is a certain love in my heart for that kind of Italian kind of rip-off filmmaking, because they kind of do it with. They don't do it necessarily with a lot of, like, it's not like the Australian Italsploitation stuff like we talked about in the last episode. It's not got a particular amount of characters or creativity or ideas behind it. But it does have kind of gusto, verve, camp, balls, and just like shoot what you can, and get it on screen. So it's kind of fun. I definitely suggest check these out if you haven't got them. On the Blu-ray side of things, these are two awesome Blu-rays. They have tons of extras, got audio commentary on both discs from Castellari. You've got In Conversation, Part 1 and Part 3 on these different discs. You have to get the New Barbarians, I guess, to get Part 2. And you've got various other extras, interviews, and trailers and posters and still galleries, and where they rented the weapons, all sorts of stuff. So a ton of stuff on both these discs. The image quality is, I haven't seen, I tell a lie, I've seen the DVD of 1990 Bronx Warriors, the earlier DVD that was released, and I forget how it compares, but there's quite a lot of high grain on these, I noticed. It's probably the best picture or the best these have ever looked, and Blue Underground do fantastic work. Definitely suggest Blue Underground as your Blu-ray provider of choice. They've got a great back catalogue. Do check out their website, but quite a lot of high grain on this, but great extras, great audio, and good quality images. And also both of these are all regions, so if you're in the UK or in Europe or anywhere like that, you can pick these up and watch them. Check them out. Good fun, but don't have huge high expectations. They're not like lost classics. They're not like discover these and be amazed. They're just campy, rompy fun that couldn't get made anymore, and there was a moment in history where they could, and they're kind of worth something. So check them out. Lastly, and I'm going to hurry up because the last episode, which was 20 minutes long, took like a ridiculous amount of hours to put up. In fact, I watched 3 movies in the time that it churned away on my shitty it's called Optimum. That's so funny. My internet provider is called Optimum, but they're not Optimum. They're shitty. Shittimum is what they are. Anyway, I'm going to hurry up so that this video isn't as long. But Cemetery Man. Now this version is from Out of Print Daniel Boyd, who also co-made Jagoff Massacre, one of the reasons I'm wearing the t-shirt. So this is just a photocopied cover. However, the disc I watched is actually the Anchor Bay Europe proper DVD release, so it was really good quality, and this is a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, check it out. If you can't get a hold of it on legitimate Blu-ray or DVD from Europe, because I think it's out of print over here, check out Daniel Boyd on Facebook. Maybe he'll be able to help, or go to Horror Realm or Cinema Wasteland or one of those in America, and go to Out of Print Dan's desk, because he will have copies of this. But this is awesome. It is sort of loosely based on the Dylan Dog comic book, so that's certainly where the inspiration came from, and one of the writers of the movie was also the guy behind those comic books. But Rupert Everett plays a guy who works in a cemetery where within 7 days of people dying, they can come back to life, and he's kind of the guardian of the cemetery. He has to shoot them in the head and rebury them. And he kind of does it with a sort of nonchalant ennui, is probably the most pretentious way to put it. He kind of does it like not caring anymore, and he's got a sort of an aloof, laid-back, numb, one-liner spouting kind of persona, until one day at a graveside he sees what he claims to be the most beautiful woman in the world, and falls instantly in love with her. She is burying her much, much, much older lover, who she claims to have been madly in love with, and who claims to have been a phenomenal lover. However, Rupert Everett and her eventually, after he tries 2 or 3 times, start a tryst. She seems to fall in love with him, but one night while they are in the middle, or in flagrante as they say, in the middle of boning, to put it in the parlance of our times, on her dead husband's grave, and this is absolutely true, completely butt-ass naked, humping and pumping away on her dead husband's grave, he comes back to life, bites her, and Rupert Everett has to kind of get rid of the love of his life. It then goes on, and he meets different characters played by the same actress, so he repeatedly finds the love of his life over and over again. He has a kind of silly sidekick who doesn't really talk very much, and he falls in love with the corpse as well. In fact, he falls in love with the head of a corpse. And there's lots of questions about what is life, what is love, what is death, all that kind of stuff, with a very, very, very black Reanimator style sense of humor. Lots of zombies, lots of nudity, lots of sex, lots of fun, lots of one-liners, lots of questions about life, death, and everything, all completely bathed in Italian filmmaking at its best. Now, there are 2 types of Italian filmmaking. There are of the exploitation era. I mean, there is this kind of stuff, which you wouldn't put up there with the best, and then there is this kind of stuff, which is your Argentos and your Bavas and Suaves and things like that, and they have more of a grasp of cinematography, pacing, humor, gore, special effects. They have a bigger budget and everything like that. And this is certainly the stuff that I prefer if I'm going to put on a movie. Stage Fright, I enjoyed. It's not the greatest slash of all time, but it did get a great Blu-ray release again from Blue Underground. So do check out Blue Underground if you want to see more. But I would definitely recommend tracking down a copy of Cemetery Man, or to give it its full title, Dellamorte, Dellamore, which it's fantastic. Rupert Everett gives a great performance. It's batshit crazy. It has a completely what the fuck ending, and it's just a lot of fun. Suave counts Terry Gilliam amongst one of his many mentors and inspirations, and there is certainly a heap of that in here as well. Good, dark, sick, twisted, amazing humor, lots of sex, lots of fun, lots of gore. Check it out, and that's it.